I understand that, but can you push it back a little bit?
Why can't you one out the road?
Because they're trying to fuck points on it. It's a play shot. It's 2 6 hours on it.
You motherfucker! Fucking
I fully thought you had watched the movie and we were going to be talking about it. So I'm sorry. But you did luck out and not have to watch this nonsense. Oh, August update. Vader did not watch the movie.
Oh, what?
You should
Yeah.
watch it.
You know
It's
what?
really-
Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
No, don't. It's
Don't watch
it's
it.
not good.
I don't want to talk about this movie. It sucks.
We'll go through it pretty quick.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. But that motherfucker, he owes me fucking 90 minutes. Dude.
Danzig or Vader?
No, Danzig.
Good luck suing him, dude.
I never in my life fucking saw anything like this fucking thing. Tell you what,
And you've seen some shit, right?
I've seen a lot of shit. You know this already. You know we both like shit.
Welcome to a very spooky episode of Movies from Green Hell, the movie podcast where we delve into films with heavy metal soundtracks, terrible stoner movies, and other such nonsense. I'm Dylan, and today we are celebrating Halloween with a very special bonus episode. And joining me for this very special bonus episode is August West, longtime returning guest from Diary of Dune, who has not been on for a long time.
Thanks for having me, man.
So it's good to have you back. Well, I mean, we did the Desert Fest recap episode, which will have come out before this. So that was actually technically your last appearance, but how you been?
Working and doing, my fly tying stuff. But yeah, I'm doing stuff. One of my sponsors has invited me to the fly fishing show in Edison, New Jersey this year in January, which is the largest fly fishing related
next year
convention
coming
and
up.
expo. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's massive. Yeah. And really humbling, and I'm honored to be asked to go and show what I've been up to. So yeah, that I didn't expect that. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to. Just preparing for that, really.
You mentioned New Jersey. That's interesting because we're talking about somebody's movie, but the person, that somebody in question, is from New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey, and you grew up in New Jersey. So we're both Jersey people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you were growing up in Jersey, before we get into the meat of this episode, the gabagool, so to speak, were you into Halloween? Are you into Halloween? Do you do anything to celebrate Halloween?
I listen to a lot of Typo Negative around the. No, not really. I mean, I like the time of the year because nice cool down, from the heat of the summer. Yeah, no, I mean, not really. I used to when I was a kid, like I remember, like at the age when it was socially acceptable to dress up and go trick or treating, I took it pretty seriously. I would say.
I did take it fairly seriously too.
Yeah.
I was into it, obviously, as a
Dressed
kid.
up like Alex from A Clockwork Orange one year.
Oh man, I had all manner of costumes.
Years before I would actually come to understand the movie. I'd seen it obviously and liked it, but then actually seeing it as a real adult and watching it and understanding some of the themes that are in it, you're like, holy fuck, I can't believe it.
I remember one year I went as Rambo, but I didn't go as Rambo from like fucking First Blood. I went as Rambo from like the cartoon because I watched it on like a Saturday morning once. It was like, that looks cool. And
Oh, sweet.
specifically, he wore like a sleeveless sweatshirt. And my
Oh,
mom was
right
like,
on.
all right, I'll get you like a cheap like champion sleep like sweatshirt or whatever. And I was like, turn it inside out. And she's like, why are you turning it inside out? You don't need to turn it inside. I go, because I need it to look like on the show. And she's like, you don't need to turn it inside out. It's just a sweatshirt. It looks like a sweatshirt. And then I was like, I'm wearing a t-shirt underneath it. And she's like, why? I'm like, because it's uncomfortable. And she's like, shit. But I did a lot of that. I was definitely into the costumes. You know, at a certain point when I got older, it was just like an opportunity. It was just like New Year's. It was just an opportunity to get drunk, like a functional costume, and then go get drunk or something like that. Go out somewhere. You know, I did the New York parade one year. But now I do like doing a simple but very functional and effective costume, and then like maybe go out to a local bar or just sort of like just stay home and watch movies or whatever, you know.
Yep.
I think the best costume we've done, Sarah and I, was when Sarah went as Ripley and I went as the cat Jones, and I just had like a pair of like cat ears and just drew like a little cat whiskers and nose on, and I wore an orange goblin shirt because Jones was orange, so
Yeah,
I
he's
thought that was
orange. Okay.
appropriate. And Sarah got like the jumpsuit and with like the patches for like the Nostromo, and
Nice.
and all that shit. And I think that was probably the best one that we did.
I meant like the Halloween used to have like a lot of. I mean, they probably do still, but I mean, I don't. I live in Minnesota, so I don't really see it. But like a lot of the concerts around Halloween time are always really good. Like it was always bands doing like cover shows, like playing bands, sets of other bands' music and stuff. Like Government Mule famously puts on a kick-ass Halloween show.
It's kind of interesting that you say that because one of the bands that I think famously did a Halloween show for a long time in New York was the Misfits, kind of like, you know, the ultimate horror punk
Mm,
band, right?
yeah.
You know, or some form of it, you know, like I know that the Misfits did that, whoever was fronting the band or leading the band at the time. I know Danzig's done Halloween shows for sure. And so it's just fitting that I unfortunately made August watch Glenn Danzig's Verotika for
Yo,
this
I fucking hate you for
Halloween.
this shit. Yeah.
And I think this is not the first time I've like made you. Oh, like when I played that terrible band for you, and you're like, I'm actually upset.
I
You're
don't
like,
even. I remember it, but I don't remember what band. Don't tell me what band it was because I don't want to hear it again. But yeah, I remember that. You just threw it on me. I didn't expect
yeah. And I remember you just were like, don't ever do that again. And I feel like I've sort of done it to you again, but in like a different capacity.
it. The no, it's it's just, look. I like bad movies, right? Like this, right? Like we
Yeah,
both
me
like
too,
bad
dude.
movies, right? This movie has no social redeeming value whatsoever. There's no sense of whimsy. There's no like nothing like even the shittiest movie, right? Like even the shittiest movie has
the
some
like
something.
this
There's just something there, right? Like, dude, you can watch Manos: The Hands of Fate, right? That fucking movie's terrible, right?
oh, it's
It's
bad.
really
It's
bad.
rough,
It's
dude.
really bad, rough, right? But like, look, you got you got what's his name, Gorgo. You got the fucking
Or yeah,
with the fucking,
whatever his name is.
you can fucking, you can laugh at it. It's
Yeah, I mean, I
this
like
movie doesn't even
the
have like this fucking movie, Veronica doesn't even have it by accident, right?
I know, I know.
There's not even accidental whimsical. The closest thing you get is that waiter. The closest thing you get is that
I
fucking
don't
waiter.
even know what you're fucking talking
He's a
about.
shitty French. He's got an accent. He's trying to act, and
Oh,
he's got this accent,
yes,
and
yes.
the way he says "neck breaker" is really humorous. But
Yeah,
the
I
you know
know because really like the first thing I got from this movie was like this is like The Room. Like this person who's making this movie does not know how to make a movie, but The Room, like you said, has redeemable values and how like unintentionally and let me be clear, there's a lot of moments in this where I believe you as well, where like we were straight up just fucking laughing at this,
Oh, I dying laughing.
like hilarious.
Yeah.
But there's something about the way that it's done where you're like, Danzig does not understand what makes a horror movie. He also doesn't really know how to make a movie. Like he clearly just does not know how to make a movie.
There's nothing endearing about it whatsoever.
No, and all these movies, like all of these stories are essentially like they've been done before. They're all just things Danzig has seen, and they're all things that Danzig perceives through the lens of Danzig. And then you get this fucking movie, which is trying so hard to be like, and the thing is, like, there's movies that have come out that have done like these exact kind of stories, like these, very like visual heavy, very like stylized kind of horror movies, to varying degrees of effect, but they work better because they're made by people who understand how to fucking make these movies. And like Danzig does not know how to fucking make a movie.
Yo, there's those scenes in this movie where it's like he forgot to call cut. And people are just standing around.
Okay,
like people are just for like a full 10 seconds, dude. People are just standing around.
I know. And the movie's an anthology, right? And so it's three vignettes with like this stupid interstitial shit in between.
Ugh.
And he has the fucking stones to compare this to Mario Bava's Black Sabbath, to which I say, fuck you, Danzig. How dare you insult Mario Bava?
I agree.
Fucking hack.
The reviews, right? Like, have you seen the trailer? I
remember watching the trailer, and my response to the trailer was like, this looks like it's gonna be shit. Like, I just know it's gonna be bad. We all know it's gonna be bad. You know what I mean?
I just didn't know. I wasn't, honestly, I was almost not prepared for.
I looked at it and said, this is going to be bad. I was not expecting it to be worse than what I thought it was going to be.
I thought it was going to be like, I'd watch it and laugh at it, and there'd be like some parts of it, I'd be like, but like, I like got mad, like too, while I was watching it. I was like, this is fucking terrible.
Well, it's just, it's just boring at parts.
I'm gonna let you know right now. Hey, look, I'm gonna let you know right now too. I made it, the scene into where the Bathory, it's like the Bathory-esque
the
story.
Third story.
Is it the third story? Okay.
Yeah.
After the like 6th full minute of this piece of Euro trash just like rubbing herself in the mirror. You know what I'm talking about? Where she's just like,
it's just
like rubbing herself in the mirror.
Yes,
I turned it off. Honestly, I swear to you, I got so mad I turned it off, and I didn't turn it back on. That's why I stopped watching it.
Oh, so you didn't finish it?
I didn't finish it. I couldn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I made it.
There's not much else that was in the rest of the movie.
I made it pretty far, I thought.
There's really not much else that happens in that
okay.
In the third story.
Let me guess. The villagers come and kill her.
No.
Somebody rises up and kills her. Oh, damn.
No, that doesn't happen either. Oh. It's actually way more boring. So I'll have to get you up to speed on that one. So all right. But Verotika was written and directed by Glenn Danzig of The Misfits, Sam Hain, or as I understand it's pronounced Saw-in or something like that. Samhain. Yeah. Well, it's gonna be Sam Hain the way most people have pronounced it since existence.
Damn the Halloween movies and their pronunciations.
And the titular Danzig band. So let's talk about Danzig. How do you feel about Danzig and the Misfits?
I feel like he owes me 90 minutes.
Okay, well, besides
that's what I feel like.
Oh no, he doesn't owe you 90 minutes. He owes you like 75.
Oh, 75 minutes. No, I'm taking those other ones too, because it's fucking
they're as collateral.
Yeah, it's right.
But do you? No, okay, so prior to watching Verotika, like,
No, I
Please do.
love the first 3 Danzig albums, solo Danzig albums are fucking awesome. I don't give a fuck. They're still really good. Number 2 is fucking. That's some good music right there. I do enjoy the Misfits. I actually enjoy the early solo stuff. Those first 3 albums, I like that. That to me, that's peak Danzig. Uh,
Probably. I would agree with that.
but I mean, I still, but it's just
He keeps
he likes to
Danziging himself.
he likes to take people's respect that they have for him and just throw it out the window. It's like if there's a way that he could make himself look like more of a douche, he will do it nowadays.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like he will
Every
go.
time
He
that
goes hard, bro.
the logical easy path is presented to him, he has some weird averse reaction to it and always goes the opposite way. Which is why he got into a fight and got fucking laid out by a dude.
Dumbass. The
Yeah.
fucking dumbass. Yeah, the stones on that guy to fucking put a movie out, but not even put yourself in. Right?
Oh
Like,
my god. Yeah, I know.
you know damn well everybody that watched that movie was waiting to see you, fucking asshole. I hope you hear this.
Well, so
He's not gonna hear this.
no, he's not gonna hear it. We can say whatever the fuck we want about Danzig.
Comes
So
knocking on the door.
hey, I heard you talking shit about me.
Oh,
I got a
shirtless.
problem with that. Yeah, fuck you, Danzig. I'll fucking breathe on you and knock you over. So Danzig to me is like he's like one of the ultimate metal guys. He's just
Yeah.
he's a metal guy, but like he's not really like he started in the Misfits, which is like not metal. It's really badly recorded punk rock, but because it's badly recorded punk rock, all the metal people were like, this is fucking great. So that's why they were attracted to it. But I was like very into the Misfits at the end of high school. I like the Misfits a lot, and I like the solo Danzig stuff too. Like I said, we're both from New Jersey, so I feel like we're like contractually obligated to like at least listen to some Danzig stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, I like the earlier stuff. Like Static Age, I think is a really good album. It's definitely a favorite of mine. I'm sure it's many other people's favorites. We used to roll a lot of blunts on the vinyl cover of it while we played the record and then smoked the blunt. So it was good blunt smoking music, which is funny because I don't think Danzig or anybody in the band ever envisioned the Misfits as like pot smoking music, but I did find that to be like, well, because also it's like short, all the songs are super short. You like roll it up, you smoke it, it's done, and then you got to move on to the next thing you do. But Danzig, like, he is, like I said, he's like one of these metal guys. He's just his entire life, he's operated as a professional blowhard and kind of would-be tough guy. And I think he's just kind of dense and very Italian and from New Jersey, and now he can barely fucking sing without running into an oxygen tank. And at this point, he just looks hilarious because he's just like this pint-sized goth Wolverine with this giant fucking forehead. Like
his forehead makes mine look fucking crazy. Like
we always joke and say like, oh, that person's got like an 8 head. Like I think Danzig's got like a fucking 16 head. Like he looks like one of the aliens from Star Trek.
Klingons.
But yeah, he looks like a Klingon, but with like a smooth Klingon forehead.
It's like the ass heads. They look like their heads kind of look like an asshole. You ever notice that? Klingons.
A little bit, yeah.
Like not as much with the anus in the middle.
Not as much as that dude from Star Wars.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like the dude that Obi-Wan, he cuts his arm off in the cantina.
Oh, he's got like, doesn't he have like a butt mouth? Like,
yeah, we call
isn't it like down here? Or butt face? Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like,
he doesn't like you either.
Yeah, Panja Baba and Dr. Evazan. So yeah, Danzig is just he's just a big fucking goober. But back to the music, like I think I've listened to Danzig 1 through 4. I don't think I've really I don't think I've gone past that, but I like all of those albums to kind of varying degrees. You know,
Does
they're kind
four?
of like Hellraiser sequels. You know, they're maybe not technically the best, and they're all kind of weird and messy, but they're fun. Like I like listening to them because they're just so like over the top and goofy. You know, like Danzig has a weird concept of what he thinks like rock and roll is.
Mm.
I don't
Have
know.
you heard that?
Everything through the lens of him, including this movie, is very interesting because it's very weird and
I
bad.
told. I told. It's funny, like the way you say that, because it's like I was texting you about it when I was watching the movie. It's like that. The movie is like that's how he sees the world. You know, like
Right.
he doesn't think
And
there's anything like that's just his normal day. That's
yep,
just
so
like
that but
it's just
by that logic, that means he also thinks his songs are like super serious.
yeah. He takes that shit serious as fuck. I bet you he
Yeah.
does. I guarantee you he does. He lives it.
Oh yeah, he's very into the occult. But I
So
haven't
funny.
really spent
But you
a
know,
lot of time with the rest of his discography, with the exception of Danzig Sings Elvis, which is easily one of the worst fucking albums I've ever listened
I
to.
haven't heard it.
Oh, it's fucking
I've heard
awful.
Is it?
It's embarrassing. Like he should be
Because he
ashamed
can
to even
sing
do
like
that.
a Roy Orbison. He's got a very kind of a Roy Orbison croony kind of voice. Like
I
those like
know,
the
I
songs he
know.
did with Roy Orbison, like that. You know the song I'm talking about, Lesson Zero. It's a
Yeah.
good fucking song.
Yeah,
The
well, he can't sing anymore.
oh, it's
But
yeah,
not
he's all
even that,
blown
like
out.
just the recording of it is awful. Like
Oh, is it?
it's terrible. It's just
Ay
everything
ay ay.
about it is a failure.
Ay ay ay.
By the way, all the information from this episode has been culled from Wikipedia, IMDb, Rolling Stone, and Revolver magazine. So take it up with them if it's inaccurate. At age 10, Danzig began to use drugs and alcohol, leading him to frequent fights and trouble with the law. He stopped using drugs at the age of 15. I think that was his first mistake. Like,
Yeah, that's just fucking big
Danzig?
mistake
What
right
do you
there.
think Danzig would be like if he was like if he used drugs or like drank a lot? He might drink
Depends
a lot.
what kind. Depends what kind of you do. You know.
I don't know, because like I feel like if he was like a pothead, he might just be like calm about things, but just be like still very into it. I don't know.
Oh, it's hard to
I feel
say.
like drugs would not be good for him, but instead,
Yeah,
Danzig, who is 5'3",
he's
like
my height.
and he's so short.
Yeah. Are you five? How? What are you? You're 5'3", right? Or
I'm,
you're 5'4"?
I'm not
You're the
5'4".
same height as me,
I'm
mother.
like
You're like the same
5'7".
damn height as me, bro.
I'm
What?
5'7", motherfucker.
7?
I'm
All
5'7".
right.
I'm
I'm
telling
looking
you,
at
I'm
the picture of
5'7".
us standing there. I'm looking at the picture of us standing next to each other right now.
And
You
don't
probably
say
are
I was
5'7".
standing on stairs.
No,
'Cause
you
I
probably
wasn't.
are. You probably are 5'7". You're standing on the curb. Are you standing on the curb? You stand-
I'm not saying I don't reveal my secrets. But Danzig
okay.
does have an interest in bodybuilding, and I love this
Oh my
fucking
god.
quote from him. I'm gonna read it in the Danzig voice. I've
Okay.
always been attracted to Nietzschean idea of perfection, so I began trying to perfect my body. I bought Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding. That's capitalized for some reason too in this quote. I don't know why. And started studying. Lifting weights is just lifting weights, but bodybuilding is about sculpting the body. Nutrition is essential. Though I'd like to be eating candy and cake, it immediately settles on my
Yo,
He's like, it immediately settles on my hips. Unfortunately, when I'm on the road and I only get to work out a few times weekly, but when I'm at home with my weights and machines, I work out 4 or 5 times a week.
yo, this guy.
Oh man. He also
Yo, you
has
actually sound fucking. You sound a lot like him, dude. That's pretty funny, actually. I gotta
dude,
admit, it's like
this fucking killed me
the
too.
part where you went off his script and you started fucking ad libbing. No, that shit made me laugh really hard. Because you did it in the voice, but you didn't break the character. It was funny, dude. I'm sorry.
This line killed me too. He also has a long-standing interest in the New World Order conspiracy theory.
Oh,
Quote,
really? I didn't know he was like that too. Oh, wow,
yeah.
that makes him even better.
Wait, quote, not only have I always been interested in the families that run the world forever, the people now known as the Bilderberg Group, there's an older book called Committee of 300, which tells you all about it. I mean, I got into trouble for this back in the 90s, talking about this kind of stuff. how the
Oh.
United States is based on a Freemason thing. And I got so many government files on me from that one. Okay, so look, without getting into the whole fucking conspiracy angle, do you really fucking think the government has a stack of files or a folder dedicated to fucking Danzig? No, they fucking don't.
Am I?
Oh my god, Danzig! Pull your head out of your ass, dude. You're not that important. Like the government barely knows who. Okay. Also, if they did,
Yo,
if they're keeping
the only
tabs
reason
on
the government knows who he is because he fucking knows some back taxes.
Dude, if they are, they don't find you a threat because they see you perform and they're like, that guy can barely breathe on stage.
They're like, why does he only sing half the line and then pull the microphone away? It's like he's
And then
only
he has
giving
the
half a
audience sing the
performance.
rest of it.
Yeah,
Why
it's
do they
like
have
he's
a-
only
why
giving
do-
half a
hold on,
performance.
why do they have another guitar player? Anyway, so beyond all that bullshit, Danzig has had some involvement in film and television. He had a minor role as a fallen angel in The Prophecy 2,
Prophecy
the sequel
2.
to Prophecy 1, starring Christopher Walken.
Mhm.
And
Prophecy
then
1, good. Prophecy 2, straight garbage. just throwing it out there. Straight to video garbage.
he also said this. Danzig was invited by 20th Century Fox to audition for the role of Wolverine in X-Men. He was an often flagged candidate for the role by a lot of magazines and fans.
I
believe, at
wanted
the
to see
time.
him in it.
And I think it was simply because he was short and jacked, which is like what Wolverine is. And as it says here on Wikipedia, as his height and build closely resemble that of the film's protagonist, as described in the original comics. However, he declined due to scheduling conflicts, and then later admitted that he was glad to turn the role down as he thought the final product was, quote, terrible, unquote, and further insulted Hugh Jackman's performance, calling it, quote, gay, unquote.
That's the greatest thing I ever heard. Oh my god. Oh,
Meanwhile, Hugh Jackman is laughing his way to the bank.
oh, that was so funny. Oh god.
That is like one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
He called it gay. Oh my god. All right.
Like he's a fucking 12-year-old.
Oh my goodness.
He also guest appeared as himself in Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
See, that's the one thing. Look, that's what I was thinking about today, right? That is the one thing that breaks character for him because he actually does, for that one time, he makes fun of himself.
Right. Well, he
knows what he's. Unless they like gave him the lines like and didn't tell him what the story was about, right? Which is actually fucking probably like they might have done that. You know what I mean? Like the way they probably just like read this stuff, recorded him, and then made the episode, and then he saw it later and like couldn't do anything about it because he already fucking agreed to it. Now he hates it. You know?
I don't know, but I mean, he was also in an episode of Portlandia, which he's funny in. Like, he's
oh yeah, yeah. He does do that. Funny. He does make fun of him.
Ancient, yeah,
he does. He kind of makes fun of himself in that too. So he is to some degree self-aware, right? He's not all thick.
Exactly.
He's not all completely thick about it, you know. So like,
right, but it's because Fred Armisen is like, we want you to do this. You also need to fly out today. Because like I read in an interview with him where he was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. Give me like 2 or 3 weeks. And they're like, no, we're shooting tomorrow. So it's either you show up tomorrow or you don't at all. And he did, you know. So he did like do it. Okay. Like he wasn't a bitch about it.
yeah. Fair enough. All right. Yeah, it's
this is what in the Revolver interview, I believe, they asked him, how does working with actors compare with a band? And he said, so far my experience has been pretty good. Anybody who's hard to work with, I'll just kick them off my set. We'll see when we start doing the movie and I have multiple actors everywhere. We'll see how good my temperament is. There's like laugh in brackets.
So by movie, is he referring to this?
I mean, this was kind of a movie, which I
Because
suppose
I
now
tell
we'll
you,
get
because he
into
used the
the
word
unfortunate.
actors. Because he used the word
Yes.
actors, right? I didn't see no damn actors. All right. I saw, you know,
You saw
I saw a
something
bunch of
else.
strippers. I saw European strippers. I
All
saw
right,
them.
let me clean my glasses here of all
Oh.
the Danzig laughter tears, and we'll talk
Oh
about this
man.
fucking piece of shit.
Ugh. The fucking I can't
Oh,
believe I
you
can't
know what?
believe
I meant to look up soundtrack for this. I don't think I did, but it's
I n- I noticed his damn
it's not
cattle
very.
calling in one of the songs.
What did you say?
I said I noticed his cattle walling in one of the songs. And
Yeah, Danzig does do a lot of, like, he did do the original music for this, but I also remember thinking like the music fucking sucks in this movie. Like it's
yeah,
just not
because and
good.
you know what's funny? Actually, I
Um,
wrote down about the soundtrack. This it's played at the same volume the entire time. Did you notice that? There's no that I noticed, right? There's no every time the music comes in, it always comes in at the same volume, and it always exits at the same volume. There's no in movies they use music to like subtly tell you like when a person turns a corner, the music gets louder as they turn the corner,
yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
because they have it playing in the club, or like in the when people are listening to music in the movie in the one room, and then they go and they close the door, boom, the music gets quiet, right? But you can still
Yeah.
kind of hear it, but it's in the other room. There's none of that in this movie. Every time music comes in, it comes in at one standard volume. The fucking hesitate to use the word acting, but like there's like people do some, they talk to each other, and some stuff happens, right? And then the music just cuts out, like it just leaves at the same volume. There's no it's kind of hard to describe, but I tell you what, it's shitty. All right, that's my point.
Yeah,
Is that it's shitty, and it
the
makes it
production on this movie,
yo.
and it's like public knowledge. Like Danzig has said, like the budget was really low.
But
They called in like a lot of favors from
why'd you
people that
make it?
they knew.
Why'd you fucking make it then?
Like, yeah, exactly. Why'd you
Why'd
even
you-
do it? But the soundtrack, so as of this recording, the soundtrack you can acquire on Bandcamp. It starts out minimum $9. You can also buy the vinyl for $29. It's too much money.
That's right.
There's a T-shirt. You can get a Blu-ray, DVD, and CD combo. I think that's $19. One of them. I don't know. There's one of those remaining, so get that. And this artwork is by a guy named Liam Sharp, who I guess drew Green Lantern. But featured on the soundtrack, obviously Danzig. Now here's the fucked up thing. You're on the fucking Bandcamp for Verotika, and every single track on here is available except for the fucking Danzig track. Like you can play every single other
Hmm.
one of them, but you can't. So I'm assuming you have to buy that one to get it. But
Mm-hmm.
there's actually like not, and unless I just don't know who any of these bands are except for one of the other ones, like there's nobody on this where I'm like, oh, they have like Danzig, but then they also have like, I don't know, like Fear Factory and shit like that. They're like the only other big band on here that I am familiar with is Ministry. And then beyond that, it's Jerky 69, Vial of Sin, Phantom, Pink Velvet, another Vial of Sin song, Core Rezik, Studio 69, and Switchblade Symphony. I don't know what any of those are,
I
and a
never heard of
lot.
any of those bands.
I feel like it's all just sort of like commercial industrial rock,
Yeah.
like just overproduced
Yep.
metal, so to speak. So
Yep.
yeah, I'm not crazy about the music in this
He
movie.
he made that one album where he got the guitar player for Prong.
He's still
You
in
know
the
what I'm talking
lineup.
about?
Like, yeah, Tommy
Oh, is
Victor.
he really? He still play? Yeah.
He still plays with Danzig.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. That kind of might
I just listened
explain
to
the industrial influence,
I just listened to some Prong recently, and like
because
they were
Prong
good back
is.
in the day.
Oh yeah, they were good. But they have like a very, even though they don't have like a keyboard per se or like keys, they have a very industrial sound in my opinion. They're
It's a lot of like repetition without it being programmed, if that makes any
yes,
sense.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm saying, like, especially the guitar sound, you know. So I'm
Yeah.
like thinking that maybe the influence of that kind of music on our boy here is possibly due to working with Tom, but I don't know.
Anyway, this movie, Verotica, it's a Shutter exclusive, so they should get rid of it. Um,
Yeah.
like I said, it's an anthology film. It was primarily filmed in the Skid Row district of Los Angeles to save on production costs, and the majority of the principal cast in the film are porn stars in real life.
They didn't make that in another country?
Jersey?
No, I thought they made it in, like, you know,
No,
Bosnia or wherever.
nope. I'll explain why. I'm
Okay,
sure you were.
because there's a
I was
lot of
confused
French.
too. No,
There's
we'll get
lots.
to that.
Okay,
We'll
all
get
right,
to that.
okay, all right, okay, all right, okay.
Verotica premiered on June 13th, 2019 at the Cinepocalypse Film Festival in Chicago, Illinois. Throughout the screening, the film elicited laughter from the audience. In a Q&A session following the showing, Danzig asserted that he did not intend for the film to be comedic, stating that viewers laughed at parts that he, quote, wouldn't have, unquote.
Let me tell you something real quick, my friend.
Me or
You have a
Danzig?
fucking movie. Well, both of you. All right. Well, no, I'm not.
Both of you
You,
guys.
look, man. No, Dan. I'm talking to Dan. You have a movie that you made, right? Where a lady has eyeballs for nipples, and a tear from one of her nipple eyeballs falls down on a spider, like that's made of CGI. The CGI spider that's like looks like it's straight out of Birdemic, right? It's like that level of CGI. There's a couple CGIs in this movie, and it's really bad.
Like,
Like
oh, it's
they
awful.
it's there's not even any like shadows on it. Like, you know what I mean? It's
It
like
looks
almost
like
two.
something. It looks
It's
like
almost 2D.
90s. It's like Windows 95
Yeah, it's
graphics.
almost 2D. Like it's almost 2D a lot of the stuff. But anyway,
It
so
looks like
you're gonna
Beast
tell me,
Wars.
yeah, yeah. So you're gonna tell me that, you know, and her nipple and the tear and falls on the spider, and then the spider is gonna turn into a half man, half spider, with only
Half
6 arms, by
human.
the way, because spiders have fucking 8 arms. I don't know why this guy's got
He
six
had
arms. He
legs. He
lost
had
2 of his arms,
legs.
but
He
or legs.
technically had
That's
enough appendages.
oh my god. So the
You're
and
spoiling
you
the
don't
plot.
expect. Well, what I'm saying is like you don't expect people to laugh at that. They made this movie, right? And like multiple people had to watch it to like edit the movie, right? And to like put it together. And like you don't just like make like film a movie and then just like put it on the screen, right? Like it has to go through a bunch of people, right? To watch it. Every single one of those people was like, "Yeah, this is awesome."
I think Danzig had way more control over this than it's known. I think he just was like, nothing is going out.
Because I tell you what, you, you can't,
Like,
you know what I mean?
so, like, in the credits of this movie, I noticed a couple of things. First of all, there was somebody named Bobby Dillon. So I like when watching the movie and I just put, hey, Bobby Dillon. It was edited by somebody named Brian Cox. So I fully am just assuming that's the Brian Cox from fucking Super Troopers and Succession. Danzig was one of the DPs on this movie. He helped shoot this movie. He helped set up the camera angles. And
Yeah,
they're terrible. There's so
they
many
are.
Dutch angles in this fucking
Yeah,
movie. Like everything is
I
just like askew. The fact that he wanted to put that out there, that he fucking helped in like crafting this, dude. I hope your next movie's better because you fucking did not know what the fuck you were doing in this movie at all,
yo,
Danzig.
I'm almost at a loss for words. This movie's so fucking shitty. Dude.
Yeah, it's confounding in how bad it is. But we'll talk about it now. So this movie opens up with a woman chained up to a wall with a pentagram like behind her on the wall. We're in a dungeon, and in walks Morella, this sexy gothy lady who proceeds to poke this woman's eyeballs out. She's got this like
Yeah,
inverted cross coming down from her eyes or some shit. And she intros the movie. She's like this, she's like the
the Crypt Keeper.
or like Elvira, apparently she is just
Yeah,
based on Elvira. So this is kind of named after Danzig's Verotic Publishing, which is like a portmanteau of violence and erotica. Sure,
So
whatever,
stupid.
Danzig. Real fucking edgy.
Fuck, I didn't know that until you just said that. Oh my, I'm mad. Now I'm angry again.
The title comes up. It's kind of a bad version of like the Thing logo, like Carpenter's The Thing, where it like burns on. I guess it's okay. It just looked bad. So the first of these entries in Verotika of this anthology, August kind of summed up the plot of it already, but it's called The Albino Spider of Dajet. And this opens with a blowjob and awful CGI spider. After said blowjob concludes, Dajet, a Parisian sex worker, that's the accent here, French, specifically Parisian. None of the French characters in the film are actually French. They're all American. Danzig revealed in a
Wait, what?
Q&A, listen to this. Danzig revealed in a Q&A that a professional voice coach was hired to teach the actors how to speak in a French accent. I think they absolutely fucking tanked at that job because I could not discern what accent this was. I was like, what the fuck? Are we in like Eastern Europe or something?
I fucking knew it. I fucking knew that shit. You don't
I
like.
fucking knew it.
I was like, they're French, right? But it sounds all fucked up. I was like, it sounds ridiculous. I was like, there's no like accents across the board, right? Like, especially
Yeah,
people
it
that
was
are
all over the
regional.
place.
Like, they kind of sound similar, right? They have very similar things. None of these people sounded anything remotely similar. It all sounds like people making fun of French people. That's what it
Yeah,
sounds like. It
it's
sounds
so
like
bad.
people making fun of French people. It sounds like if I was just to talk like this. If I say, hey, Dylan, what do you think we should do with this movie podcast thing that we do when we talk about the movies? Huh?
It's
We.
Davos
That's
on
literally what it's
movies.
like. That's fucking what it sounds like. I swear.
Yeah, it's awful. It's so bad.
So fucking dumb. Oh.
So she tries to stop this man that she was blowing from taking her top off because, surprise, she has eyes on her boobs where her nipples would be.
I was surprised.
And outside of seeing a bunch of gross dudes, like, I don't really know what I'm not sure what the view would be like to be eyes from breasts, because I feel like most of the time it would be like clothed, but I suppose because she's like, a sex worker, she probably just sees a lot of gross guys.
Yeah.
Like, also, like, are those her eyes? Or
I don't
are
know
they like
who's like, yeah,
independently like
I don't,
are they independent of her? Like, can she
I was trying
see
to think
through
of
them?
that. I was trying to think. Is there like a Quado situation, or is it like
It's never
a?
explained.
It's never explained. None of this is explained. That is something I was thinking about. Is there like, is it her vision through the thing, or is it like, is there somebody else in there, like Quado, or I don't know.
Like, does
It's
each
crazy.
breast see independently? Do they see in unison? Like,
They
I wish.
definitely have emotions because they cry.
Yeah. So
So
Dejetz is joined by a fellow sex worker, Marielle, who I thought looked like a really bad cosplay version of Daenerys from Game of Thrones.
she was wearing the worst wig I ever saw in
It
my
was
life.
very bad. It was very
You can
bad.
see the fucking seam of the wig on her hair, like on her scalp line. Like you could just see where the wig rolled up. Like, oh.
And then Dejet's tit eyes cry, and the tear knocks this CGI spider off of a rose, and then it turns into, via very bad CGI as well, this like demonic creature thing, like it grows
Serial
a
rapist.
face. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It somehow turns into a
'Cause that's
bizarre
normal.
spider demon serial rapist, the
Yeah.
titular albino spider. There's no explanation for why this happens. Like, we don't know if she has magical powers. We don't know if there was some kind of like lore that said a tear would fall on a spider and turn. There's nothing. It just happens.
But if you want to know what the guy looks like, folks, just picture the moon face guy from the McDonald's commercials.
I actually had said he looked like Murderface from Frisky Dingo.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah.
But with 6 arms and as you pointed out, there's a giant hole in the like the crotch of the costume where his junk would be. So it kind of made us think like, is that where his big spider dong comes out? Or did they just do like really bad special effects? And the answer is they just had really bad special effects. Like the costume is fully ripped, like in the final cut of the movie. It's fucking ridiculous. It's absurd.
You see later on in a scene it's back together.
Yes, yes.
Because continuity doesn't mean shit to Danzig.
Nope. Making a movie. It's real. It's deep. It's got a lot of thematics to it.
Fuck that. The guy in the fucking costume was like, I gotta piss.
Scotch Hopkins. Yep, Scotch Hopkins.
Okay.
It took him 8 hours a day to get into that makeup, and it sucks.
Yo.
It's bad.
8 hours. Imagine, it took him 8 hours to do the Penguin for Batman Returns, right? Think about that.
Yeah, but that movie is amazing. And
that's what I'm saying. Like in
incredible.
the same amount of time. That's what I'm saying. In the same amount of time, you get amazing. You get fucking whatever the fuck that is.
So the albino spider is here to give some sage advice to Dejette and asks her to make him real or like allow him to manifest into reality and not continue to live on as a CGI spider. Something like that.
But it also turns out that he's also a dream of hers, like a dream manifestation that only happens like when she's sleeping. Like she only every time she.
Yeah, it's very poorly explained. Like he only can exist when she's asleep, and he is like a manifestation of like her deepest desires, but none of those are established at all. So he's just
apparently her desires are like raping and breaking people's necks.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. Like
it's so stupid.
Like, he winds up killing Marielle, and she gets upset about this, and then the demon explains why he's doing these things. But like, it's just weird. Like, why do you want to like her deepest desire is to just like to kill prostitutes? Like, none of
she
it
is one.
I know it doesn't make any.
It's fucking so weird.
It is Danzig attempting to do like a weird giallo film and just absolutely failing at it. Like it's just so bad.
What I was saying before is the trailer. When I asked you about the trailer, I forgot to follow up on that point. They show you like flash reviews, right? Of like what people have said about the movie, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, the greatest movie, since blah, 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 whatever. Blah, blah. I can't remember exactly what they were. But one of them was like a master of modern European horror. It's like, I don't know, are you watching the same fucking bullshit?
You smoking crack that day?
Yeah. But those were really funny. I remember. You got to check those out. I wish I could remember them now, but they were fucking funny. It was like people that they obviously did not watch the movie. It was obviously Danzig just told them to say that, or nobody even said it. And they just typed it up on the screen. Send it out.
Well, we meet this new blonde lady who is also a sex worker, and she encounters the spider demon, who very forwardly says he wants to fuck her in the ass. Fuck is my specialty. I think that's what she says.
Yep.
Then he says,
and then she seemed oddly interested.
Yeah, but then he says he wants to snap her neck, which he does.
Yeah, and also keep in mind at any time she could have just ran away. Yeah. Because at no time was he holding her hostage or anything. He was just standing in the room with her. Like she could have just fled the door and just been out.
Standing in this tunnel in like.
Somewhere. Oh, that's right. Yeah. They were outside. That's right. They were outside on the street, right? Weren't they?
Somewhere in Paris.
Yeah. So at any point, she could have just left. Like turned around and just left, but she didn't. She chose to have this insane conversation with a fucking half man, half spider dong. Like it's perfectly normal. Like it's perfectly normal, and it cost her life.
So then Dejette wakes up during a photo shoot, unaware that the albino spider has struck again, until the news reports the murder. Dejette's accent virtually disappears while she breaks down in this scene. Fully breaks the accent. It's very funny. Like they're so terrible. She goes to a movie where she falls asleep and is then groped by a bunch of men.
It's fucking completely abnormal and fucking strange. It's supposed to be a porno theater. I think that because they don't show what's on the screen, but you hear like moaning and shit. And there's two dudes in there. But it's weird because none of them are jacking off.
No, they're all like,
Like,
"Oh,
why
this is
would you?
good cinema."
Yeah, they're just like watching it like it's a fucking Martin Scorsese movie. You know? Contrary to my understanding of what people do in places like that. All right.
Yeah, but they like all like get up on her and like grope her, and then the spider, the demonic the albino spider is about to or is possibly assaulting a prostitute, and then Dejette wakes up and very badly acts her way out of the theater, and like the spider guy disappears, so this person is not being assaulted anymore. I don't know. That was that whole sequence of events was weird and
Yeah.
generally pretty unpleasant to watch. Like it just was weird and clunky and like kind of just gross. I didn't like it.
I agree.
And then she goes to a cafe, and then she goes home. Oh, that's the part with the French
waiter.
waiter.
That's the
Yes.
waiter, yeah, the
Yes.
waiter. Well,
Yes.
apparently he's not French now, so
Yes,
that
but
explains everything.
It was not as good as this part. She goes home and uses her magic phone, like literally just picks up the receiver and calls the police. And like, I'm assuming this is like one of those old fashioned dial phones, like doesn't dial
I
anything.
forgot about
And
that shit.
This
Oh
part was
my
amazing.
God.
Calls the police to report the murder and come to her address. Incredibly, the police know all of this: who she was, where she lives, why she was even calling in the first place. Like, it was amazing. I've never
like the
seen exposition just like magically travel the way it does. Like, it was so fucking funny. I had to rewind and watch it.
Yeah, I did. I remember saying, I just remember laughing and just going, "It's like the bat phone," because you know the bat phone. It calls to like one place and that's it. Like you just pick it up and it dial.
So obviously the albino spider is not too happy about this, but Dejette falls asleep to manifest him into the world. The police arrive, break down the door, and shoot the albino spider dead. And I'm like, wow, what a fucking lame demon. Like, he's killed by bullets.
Yeah, wait, doesn't she like take some pills and then die herself though?
She overdoses so that she's like dreaming enough so that they can kill him, but then she winds up dying.
Oh, that's how it is.
Yeah, and then it just sort of ends.
And then it's the most realistic part of the movie where the cops come in and the cop goes, "Look at her tits. She's got eyeballs for tits."
Yep, because one of those eyeballs is poking out.
Yeah.
And then Morella, the host, goes, "Well, there you go. Yeah, there you go."
Because that's perfectly normal. There you go.
So she intros the next story, which is called "Change of Face,"
which is the fucking worst. Because the first one is very reminiscent. You know, it's got very much Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. You know, with the dreaming and her trying to stay awake and.
Yeah, and like a lot of like sort of giallo color schemes, like a lot of greens, a lot of reds. It's sort of like the horror is sort of like unexplained, like things just sort of like happen, you know. Unfortunately for this, Danzig is not one of those good Italian horror movie directors. He is a bad Italian horror movie director.
So this next one here is very reminiscent of Tobe Hooper work at Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I thought it was kind of reminiscent of like Japanese grindhouse films.
The feel of the story, yes, but the actual content of the story, if you look,
it's
you know
kind of
what
like
I mean.
That.
There's people getting their skins removed and like doing all that stuff, you know.
Yeah. There's a lot of shots of the main character like speaking directly to the camera instead of the person, and a lot of reaction shots that kind of remind me of like, I watched like 4 of the Miko Kaji movies, or like the female prisoner movies from the 60s and 70s in Japan, and like I like them a lot. They're really cool. They're pretty fucking insane, and some pretty off the wall shit happens in them, but like there's a lot of that sort of like like stuff where people are like just sort of freeze and stare at the super weird. So
Mhm.
at least this one didn't have terrible French accents. Acting is still pretty awful in it. And this one starts with an unnamed woman who looks kind of like a spooky version of Lydia Lunch. Like I said, with sort of a Miko Kaji vibe, demanding this very busty lady to give her face. Appropriately, the woman says no, and then she gets her face cut off anyway.
Yeah.
I actually thought the mystery lady looked kind of cool, and that might be the only thing I can give this movie.
What I didn't understand is how she was able to get work as a stripper.
Well, yeah, because
She's obviously all fucked up. Yeah, she's got
after this, it's just a very long pole dancing sequence set to
Frickin-
awful butt rock. Oh, that's
got
what it is.
bullet-
It's not all industrial rock. It's this terrible butt rock. And I'm just like, Danzig, where did you find this music? It's fucking awful. But you were also talking about how like the music was all the same level, except
it
for
all
one
comes-
part in this where
It might be
actually
really
does
super
drop
loud.
out. Yeah, but it does drop out for a moment for some dialogue, and that
Oh,
dialogue
okay.
was somebody just going, "Hey," and then the music just came back. So, you're puzzled by how she can get work as a stripper. Well, she has a bunch of faces, and she has a mask.
Well, I'm saying though, but she
There's
doesn't
like
like. She's got bullet holes in her.
well, eventually she does.
Like, but she's still dancing at the same place.
No, it's a different place.
Oh, it's a different place. It looks exactly the
Yeah.
same. But yeah,
So, Mystery Girl, she takes the stage in this initial strip club in this, hooded cloak and not much else. And and she does this fucking dance to a Danzig song. And of course, his main character has to strip to his music.
Ugh.
And he sounds so fucking old and bad on this song. Like, just hang it up,
you
dude.
just hear him like.
Stop. He sounds
That's all you hear
he
in the
sounds
background.
awful. He sounds so fucking bad. This the song sucks. It's just- Danzig canceled shows because it was too hot. Like you were gonna dry up and wilt like the old windbag you are. But it does beg the question. This was a question I raised on a previous episode. Who would win in a fight now? Danzig or Vince Neil?
Danzig would beat the fuck out of him.
You still think Danzig could beat the shit out of Vince Neil?
Yeah, I think so. I think Danzig would have enough rage built up inside of him that he would fucking let it go.
I mean, I think that Danzig,
but he does have a glass jaw. See, the thing though is that we all know he has a glass jaw, right? So there's that. Yeah,
there is
he
that.
might be able to. He might be able to deliver. You know what I mean? He might be able to hit hard. You never know. He's kind of a big dude, or stocky at least. But we all know his jaw is very testable. So there's that.
That's
a very, we don't know Vince Neil's.
I think it would be. I think it'd be pretty equally matched. But I think there's a slight edge to Danzig. He might just be able to punch him hard enough. Because I feel like Vince Neil can't fight.
Vince, yeah, he's all big, out of shape too.
So anyway, a trio of cops figure out the very clear motive of the killer.
These cops are real fucking geniuses. Let me tell you, they're fucking.
They're terrible.
They're regular fucking Sherlock Holmes. They're in fucking Dr. Watson over there.
So fucking stupid. I think they even have a line about like, "Oh, you figured it out."
Those are the best scenes with the cut where they forgets to yell "cut" though. It's with them cops. It's with them cops. That's the best one. That was one that made me really laugh out loud.
They're terrible. I know. They hated them.
It's amazing.
Mystery Lady convenes with her collection of faces.
Nice name, by the way. Really original. Went out on a limb on the thought there. Yeah, really put a lot of thought into that.
She proceeds to remove her own layer of skin on her face, which reveals her scarring, and then shows up at another busty woman's house and surprisingly, perhaps, cuts her face off too. Then there's more pole dancing, but
none of this is ever explained why she does all this, or why she's all like this.
She has a fucked up face, but we don't know why she has.
Yeah, but we don't know why she can not have flesh rotting onto her face. You know what I mean? They like all there's like some
She
kind
just
of
needs some new
magical.
skin. So yeah, there's more
Yeah.
pole dancing, and then Mystery Girl starts seeing the faceless victims, or I'm sorry, the faceless specters of her victims in the crowd, which just makes her dance more. There's more pointless stuff with the cops, including a line, "Don't let any information leak to the press," which I just found really funny for some reason, because like, who would care about this? Who
Nobody.
cares
Not
about the
even the people
information
watching. Not
in
even the people
Verotika?
watching the movie.
Mystery Lady convenes with the
Certainly
faces
not the
again.
people watching the movie.
The cops find the body and a card to the local club, Pussycats. The main cop, Sergeant Anders, goes to the club, and one of the strippers informs Mystery Girl that he's looking for her. She flees, and the strippers stall Anders. One of them points him towards a dark room where he says, "They know that she killed those women and took their faces." She slashes Anders in the face, Mystery Girl, that is, and then he shoots her a couple of times before she runs off. 6
2
months
times in the
later,
gut.
yeah, it's kind of weird. And 6 months later, she is now dancing at another club under a different name known as Mysteria. And that's where the movie ends, or that's where the vignette ends.
Oh, I wish that was where the movie ended. Don't tease
Morella
me.
Morella pulls up a random face and slaps it on the chained up girl's face. She's standing in front of some horrendous CGI swirling red vortex nonsense before introducing the next segment, which is called Drukija, the Countess of Blood. And this has been described on a take on a historical figure and murderer Elizabeth Bathory. I think that could be debatable, but
Yeah.
I guess it's there. So
No, I knew what it was instantly. I knew what it was instantly. When I saw the
I guess I'm
whole
just not
setup and
that.
everything, I was
I
like,
guess I'm
"This
just
is."
not that familiar with Elizabeth Bathory, and I
Oh,
probably should
really?
be. I mean,
Oh shit.
I
Oh,
know of her, but I guess I am not like super. I guess it's just not something I think about often. But I guess like the whole like her bathing in blood. That's like the main, like one of the main things about Elizabeth Bathory,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay,
That's her big thing. She used to kidnap the young
like
ladies
supposedly
from the
she was like a
village.
vampire or
Supposedly,
something,
yeah.
right?
Supposedly, yeah. This is all supposed. Yeah. She used to, you know, bathe in the blood because she said it was kept her skin youthful or whatever. You know, it was all vanity thing. So yeah, I don't know, but
I like Bathory the band.
it's yeah. Well, you know that obviously comes from that.
Well, this is a
The
period piece, unfortunately, and we meet Countessa
yeah.
Drukida. And if this movie had like a shade of cred, I think that this could have been like played by Julia Fox, who is known for being in Uncut Gems and briefly dating Kanye West, and also just being like a real fucking weirdo. So she smears blood all over her face and then heads out with her entourage into the old country, wherever that is, to find a virgin. And she finds one, and her mother sells her off with very little hesitation. And
Yeah.
so they take this virgin back to her castle, where she introduces her to Sheska, who's 100% not from the old times. I think she actually has kind of a Jersey or Brooklyn accent when she speaks.
Yeah.
Drukija selects the recently acquired peasant girl for her ceremony. I didn't notice this, but apparently the crown that Drukija wears, like the emblem of it, is the same as Danzig's logo. So I guess it's like the demon skull thing.
Oh, I missed that.
I
I was
didn't
too
notice
busy.
that.
I was too busy thinking
Turning it
about
off.
how I fucking wanted to turn off this stupid ass movie.
So Drukija strips down at this skeletal altar and gets into a tub of blood that has a sacrificed girl in it. She like produced all this blood.
Yeah.
She starts like lapping up the blood off her body. The girl's got slit wrists, and this is just goes on for a while. She's
Way
just
too long.
like rolling around in this blood for like fucking
Yeah.
forever, like
Yeah.
so long.
And then she gets out, and then she's looking in the mirror for an additional way too long.
Yeah,
All right.
and
And right about that
finally,
time, I had enough. All right. That's
look,
it.
at this point, Sheska and the other girls enter,
Oh, I saw
and
that. Yeah. Yeah. I saw.
then they kill the new virgin,
Yeah.
They kill her, they slit her throat, and it
That's the
just
best
hoses.
effect in the movie.
It just,
There's so
yeah, and it
much
still
blood.
looks pretty bad. It just
It
looks
still
pretty
looks
bad. It still
terrible.
looks bad.
Yeah.
Just hoses down Drakesia. And that's how she remains youthful. And she kills another girl hanging upside down in a cell, bathes in her blood too. Drakesia ventures out on horseback during night day and sits
Oh,
upon a throne of roots, and a wolf approaches her. And like, man, I was just kind of hoping that like maybe Danzig's wolf song, I'm the wolf, was gonna like start
yeah.
playing. I know
Like,
Danzig
hello,
likes
wow.
wolves. That doesn't happen. She
No.
feeds it some random meat that's extremely well cut that she just has on her for some reason and says, "Find me a woman so I can feed again." Said woman is brought to her crypt. She cuts open her very obviously prosthetic chest. The boobs look super fake. And pulls her heart out. Like, just I don't even know how this like makes any fucking sense, like anatomically. And then she eats the heart. And then she asks Sheska to remove the dead girl. And she stays to party with the heart. One of the girls escapes. This whole scene looks like it was filmed at the local park where there were just slightly more trees than normal. She is captured and then she is beheaded at sunrise. Drakesia takes her decapitated head back home with her while her corpse is burnt. Turns out she actually has a whole trophy room full of heads, and then it ends. Like the segment just there's no arc, nothing of interest happens. It just is a day in a life of
Yeah.
not Elizabeth Bathory.
Yeah.
And Marilla sends us off by taking a bath in the bloodbath. Not sure if I put that together earlier. She looks pretty over it, and I would be too.
Yeah.
And that's where the movie ends. So you didn't miss that much.
Good.
Special thanks in the credits include Pop Chips, Grillos Pickles, Voodoo Donuts, Jarritos, and Red Bull. Verotika was panned by critics and August West, with multiple publications comparing it to the 2003 film The Room, which is commonly considered to be one of the worst films ever made.
No, The Room.
The Room
I
has a lot
already
more
said everything. I already said everything about that I needed to say. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? though? You understand? You feel me on that?
Yeah. I'm just reading some of the reviews here.
No, I get you.
Patrick Bromley of Bloody Disgusting wrote that, quote, the audience reaction at Cinepocalypse suggests that Verotika has a future as a midnight movie in the same vein as The Room. There's plenty of entertainment and plenty of laughs to be had, even if I'm not sure if that's what director Danzig originally intended. Creating a new horror cult favorite might just be the most punk rock thing he could have done. No, it's not. Nick Allen of Vulture wrote that Verotika, quote, follows in the tradition of Ed Wood and Tommy Wiseau, unquote, and noted that Danzig may have unwittingly created, quote, the horror comedy of the year, unquote. Alex McLeavy of the AV Club called the film, quote, funny on a level that most comedies can't achieve. It's that rare fusion of painstakingly expressed love and total lack of ability that delivers the best of bad cinema, and Danzig should be proud. No, he shouldn't. The movie is, I don't know. To me, it's like, there's parts of it that are like unintentionally very funny, but it's also such a fucking shoddily made movie.
I agree. The first scene, like the
21%
first,
on Rotten Tomatoes.
it should have the fucking point nothing. The two the first scene, right? Like the first vignette or whatever.
It's crazy and insane.
Yes, and it's at least a little bit entertaining on a level where you're like, okay, I can sit through this, right? And then like you watch the second one, and then you're like, okay, this is getting a little. And then to you, by the time that third one comes around, there's no laughing at it anymore. All right, does that make?
Right?
Did you feel that way? Did you feel that way?
100%.
Okay, all right, okay, all right.
Like I said, it's insulting to Black Sabbath movie. Like Black Sabbath the movie is a well-made anthology. Those three stories are all very good, and the characters make sense, and the writing makes sense, and everything that happens in it makes sense within the confines of it. And it has a fun little thing that like ties it together. Same thing with Creepshow. Same thing with Tales from the Dark Side. Like
body bags, everything.
Body bag, all those.
Yeah.
They all make sense because the writing is done in a way that adheres to the short story format. Like yes, you get a lot of exposition, yet because you're working on a very like it's like a television show. You're working on a like kind of a limited time frame. And Danzig does fucking none of that in this at all. Like he has no respect for storytelling whatsoever.
Fail. Fucking
But
fail.
yeah.
You're fired,
Uh
dude.
the film was released on Blu-ray and DVD in March of 2020, so we should have seen that as a harbinger upon us and realized that Danzig was going to tank the rest of the year and then the first half of the year after that. So yeah, like the big issue with this movie is that Danzig thinks it's all legitimately fucking good and it's all generally really fucking bad. We've been saying the acting, cinematography, special effects, the storytelling. If this were being made as satire or perhaps just a very story heavy porno, which is basically what it is,
Yeah.
it could work, but it fucking
They're all-
doesn't because it's a movie. So I said it earlier in the episode and I'll say it again. Glenn Danzig lacks a firm understanding of not just how to like do horror, but also just filmmaking in general.
I hard agree.
So
think,
what does the future hold for Danzig? Well,
Well, a bunch of Misfits shows.
yeah, a bunch of Misfits shows, canceling some shows in Texas because it was too hot. And he was working on, I guess he is working on a film version of one of his Verotica comics called G Rouge or Guy Rouge. I don't know. It's G E Rouge. G E Rouge. Guy Rouge? Rouge? I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to spend much time trying to figure that one out. There's the possibility of an animated film version of the Satanica comic. And at the red carpet premiere of Rob Zombie's 2019 film, Three from Hell, Danzig told interviewers that production for a new film would begin in October of that year, which he described it as a vampire spaghetti western and said that there would not be any more Misfits tours, which was a lie. There have been some Misfits tours since then. In
That movie he's
2020,
referencing is called
yes,
Death Riders and the
it is called
something.
Death Rider in the House
Okay.
of Vampires.
That's what it's called. Now, I know for a fact he's in that movie, right?
He is in
he
that
acts
movie.
in the movie, right?
Yes.
Like he didn't direct it because I'm probably never ever
Oh
gonna
no,
watch anything he's written or
I think
directed.
I do believe he is directing this movie.
Yo, don't make me
I'll watch
fucking
it.
watch that movie. Don't make me watch it.
I won't make you
All
watch it.
right,
But
I'll
I
watch
will
it. No,
watch
I'll
it.
watch it. No, I'll watch it. I'll watch it. If you want me to, I will. It's fun, you know.
But apparently, it's
I
a spaghetti
obviously look.
western.
You know that I'm not really. I do this
You're
because I
not a
love
film
you.
snob.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I do this because I love you. I'm not I'm not mad at Danzig. Right? Like I'm not. You know.
You're mad at me because you love me.
Yeah.
It's a spaghetti western mixed with vampires, and it's got Devon Sawa and Danny Trejo and Julian Sands and Kim Director and Danzig in it. So
Rest in peace, Julian Sand.
yeah, R.I.P. Julian Sands. He did pass away this year. So we'll see what kind of
Very
disaster
very
that turns
weird
into.
circumstances too. By the way, you
Yeah,
seen that?
hiking, like lost
Well,
on the trail, very odd.
yeah, disappeared without a trace.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold off on my movie and other shit recap for the next regular episode. But any horror movies that you like to watch around this time of the year or just have been generally been enjoying?
Well, I mean, everything on TV kind of turns to. Well, I don't really watch TV, but like even the Netflix and Primes and all that stuff that I do watch, kind of gear towards Halloween stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so there's chances are that I'll start watching. So actually, you know what I've been watching? You know what? After I watched Verotika, I needed to cleanse my palate, so I watched The Shining, and
Well, Shining
just
rocks.
loved it. Like again, you know what I mean? It's just amazing. I realized that I've discovered, not discovered, like a few more themes had dawned upon me, when I was watching the movie that I had never thought about before. And that was cool. And I think I'm gonna watch 2001 again, soon, and try to kind of dive into that more because I haven't watched it in a really long time, and I don't think I gave it the proper attention, you know, first.
It's a good one. I like
3 times
2001 a
I
lot.
watched it.
I have the soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, I was using it to test out the speakers when I set it up in here, and it's a good thing to just kind of like pop on that first track because it's the big track.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll hold off on all my stuff. You can visit the Diary of Doom website, diaryofdoom.com. Check out the podcast along with my concert photography there. You can follow the podcast on diaryofdoom.podbean.com. Follow along on Instagram. That's where you get your most regular updates about the podcast. Like it on Facebook and subscribe and listen on Apple, Spotify, wherever the fuck you use to listen to podcasts. If you want to suggest a movie for me to discuss on the podcast, you can email me at diaryofdoom1968@gmail.com. You can follow August at August on the Fly on Instagram. Find out about all his fly fishing stuff there. That's pretty much like your spot, right?
That's my jam.
And yeah, that'll do it for this episode. And hopefully the next time I have you on, we'll watch something a better caliber. Maybe not like a great movie, but at least more fun to watch.
Yeah, listen, I'm all for watching shitty movies, man. You know this. I love shitty movies. I love it. But you see, when it's like when people make shitty movies, there's always an air of something to them. There's some kind of there's like, I already said everything already. I'm not gonna repeat it. But yeah, this Danzig, you fucking fucked me up with this shit.
Well, what do you mean? I was just trying to make a fucking movie.
No.
You being an asshole. You being an asshole.
No. Your vision. Let me tell you something, guy. You need to go to Lens Crafters. All right? Because your fucking shit's fucked up.
Lens Crafters.
Fucking shit's fucked up.
I guess we'll just sign off there. So happy Halloween, everybody. Stay safe. Don't eat any fucking razor blades in your apples if you actually still think that's a fucking thing. It never was, at least as far as I know.
Halloween 3, man.
Oh yeah, well, in Halloween 3,
Halloween 3. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
There's that fucking burlesque scene where the kid fucking with the apple. That's actually the most fucked up scene in the whole movie.
It's pretty, and until the other person's, the other kid's head melts and turns into crickets.
Oh yeah. I like the Halloween 3 was cool. It's underrated in my opinion. A lot of people give it shit, but
I think it's good
because it's weird. I think it's like an old wizard. You know what I mean? You never he's like a million years old. He might even be an alien. They never tell you. It's really cool. I don't know.
And it's got the guy from Night of the Creeps in it, Tom Atkins. He was Escape from New York.
Yeah, that's right. That guy rocks.
Well, girls, I got good news and bad news. The good news is your dates are here. What's the bad news? They're dead.
As the frontman for the popular hardcore band Northside Kings, rocker Danny Marianino has a dream job.
I've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff, and I've gotten to see a lot of stuff, and that's a big part of why I do it. Music is my form of outlet, and it's fun. I mean, the touring is fun.
Today, Danny thinks he's landed the best gig of his career. He's been booked to open for a big name on the punk scene.
I was a definite fan of his. The guy's a major rock star.
But when the big name bumps Danny's band off the schedule, this dream job becomes a nightmare. Hoping to salvage his set, Danny is definitely not looking for trouble when he catches up to the bad boy headliner.
He's got a reputation for being a black belt. I got a black belt too, but I bought it at the store. It don't count for nothing.
Danny quickly discovers that this punk rocker is just a punk. the egomaniac flips out. So Danny delivers the chin music. For the angry entertainer, it's spotlights out.
When you're going to raise your voice and act like that and put your hands on somebody, you're going to get hit back. He's a perpetual tough guy that got chumped by a fat kid. Simple as that, you know?
Ultimately, Danny may be disappointed with the way this gig went down. But then it did lead to one of rock's greatest hits.